Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. If you guys were at Brittany's channel, then welcome back. If you were not, welcome. This is our live website reviews, and we are going to be going over some websites that got submitted to us on Instagram and just giving our feedback on them. Brittany, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, guys. If you don't know me, I'm Brittany Wang. I write young adult fantasy novels, but I also am a web designer, and I also have a course called Author Website Bootcamp, where I teach my students how to create their websites from scratch, and not just their websites, but their newsletters, so they can grow their platform and readership. So, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And if you don't know me, I am a professional website and graphic designer. I do websites and book cover designs. And I've just recently done a series on this channel where I talk about how to create your own author website. So we are going to crack on. Hopefully we will get through the other websites that we didn't get to in Brittany's. If you did miss Brittany's live stream, there is a link down below, so you can go and watch that after this and see all the other good tips that we've got. So I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully that's working. Is that working? I'm not sure that is.
Do you have it selected at the bottom, and then you just have to click on it to show? Bear with us just a second, guys. Hi, hi, Danya. Hi, Stephen, and Elira, and Mary, and Leanne, and Cam.
Thanks okay, I think we're good.
Woo!
Okay, cool. Okay, so this is Elira Barnes' website, and this is one of the ones that we said was really strong. We really loved the initial sort of impact of the site. It looks very clean and very professional, very, like, we love the imagery and the colors. The branding is on point. The one thing that stood out to me as I kind of started scrolling through the site is, firstly, this section here. You've got a whole screen, like literally taking up the whole screen just for the word books. And it's a link that goes to your book site, your books page rather, but I think you'd be better off having some kind of detail about your book here. So whether it's like a short paragraph about your work in progress or any published books you've got, maybe a book cover, just something there so that you haven't got this whole screen just for this one link.
Agreed. That was the one thing that I saw too. I'm like, there's no information here. I don't know. You know, like if I didn't already, I know Elira, so I'm like, I would be clicking that button. But like anybody who doesn't know you, you have all this other information elsewhere. And let's see, I also like love the whole branding though. I think it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's really intuitive. You guys can see we talked about in the last video a little bit about padding and keeping spacing. And I think Elira has done that really well too. I think one of the things for me that I saw could be improved too, or just thought about, is as you guys were just watching Becca sort of go through, you can see that things are faded in. There's like these effects that are allowing the different elements to fade in, and you have it on every single what Wix calls a strip, and it's a fun effect, but there can be two downsides to it. One is that your website loads slower, and with somebody with a slow internet speed, they might get to a section, it loads slow, and then they think there's nothing there, they get confused and they click off. So those kind of things. And then so I think that if you wanted to have that sort of fade in effect maybe on a couple of them, that would be maybe a little more effective. But I definitely, like, especially for this first one with your name, I might say hold off on having it for the first one, just so people can like don't have that like freak out a moment of like there's nothing on this page, but then maybe just applying it to a couple of the other strips going down the line. It's just,
yeah, definitely. And the other thing that I notice, I love the images you've chosen. They're really high quality, very professional looking. I'm a sucker for flat lay, so I just love the images you've chosen. The one thing I will say is there's quite a lot of images on this homepage. So you've got these dividers going through, but what I would actually suggest is extending them and having some white space. So having like image, white space, image, white space. So an example would be on this section here, the featured blog posts. You've got this lovely image on the back, but then you've got these images overlaid on top as well for your blog posts, and it's that image on image thing again. It just kind of jars a little bit. So if this was a white section, so you'd had your little divider and then a white section, and then you've got your lovely images for your blog post, I think that would be a little bit more effective and not be quite so in your face cluttered kind of thing.
Right. And in the cluttered, like for the mind, again, like you're not focusing so much on what does that blog post say and do I want to click on it? It's just like, wow, there's a lot of pretty images. Even if you think it's like pretty the way it is, they're probably not thinking about the content because your eye isn't drawn to it. It's like so spread out by all the different images.
Yeah, and again here, this follow me, once you scroll to like this point where you're on top of the keyboard, it just kind of gets confusing because you've got the text of the keyboard and then the text of the follow me. So it's just thinking about how you're using the images and making sure that it's not too much.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that we want to say about this site? I think it's a really strong site in general.
Very, very strong. No, I think we covered the main things, at least for this page. And you guys, if you're wondering, hey, there's like a whole rest of the website that you guys aren't addressing. We really wanted to get to as many websites as possible. But so we picked one page to like go to. If you guys would like us to do more of these kind of feedback sessions where we focus on other pages that authors usually have and why they have them, let us know that right now in the comments, because we can definitely plan to do more of these.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Rebecca Thorne. Okay, so I really like the colours. The first thing that hit me was this logo. It looks a little bit blurry, so I don't know if you've used like a low quality image for it, but I would just recommend. Pardon?
I'm still seeing Elira's page on here. Is there a way?
Oh, hang on. Give me a second.
No worries. And Elira is saying thanks for the great feedback. So you're welcome, Elira. We're glad we could help and give you some more thoughts, because you're already doing a like super great job. So all the nitpicky stuff we're giving you are literally like nitpicky, like this could make it better, but you're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I think I've got this now. Can you see my
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, the first thing that stuck out to me was this logo. It's just a little bit low quality. So just go into your photo settings, whatever you've created this in, and just check the quality, because it does take away from the professionalism of the overall site. But I do really like the colors.
Agreed. Yeah, and I like, again, like not everybody needs to have it, but I do like that there's a very clear tagline of like middle grade author, total nerd. So we get like some personality and some like, we get to know Rebecca like as a person and connect with her, but then we also know what she's writing. So that is super helpful.
Yeah, and speaking of personality, I love her text. I did actually sit through and read this text and laughed because it's full of personality, which is great. The one thing I will say is it's all about you and nothing about your writing. So I think I mentioned this in Brittany's live stream, that I would always recommend mentioning your books in some way, whether it's just a little paragraph about your work in progress or having your book covers of your published books, whatever it is. If you're an author, you need to be mentioning your writing. So I would definitely recommend adding something about your book somewhere.
Yeah, and it looks like you're already represented by an agent and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, obviously you have books to talk about. So even though like, yeah, you have that page and you say middle grade author, you want to capture the audience right away and say, okay, this is what my book's about. Like, if you're interested, here it is.
Yeah, for sure. And then the final thing I noticed about this site is you've got this sidebar here, and typically we do not see this kind of sidebar on a homepage. This makes it look more like a blog. So what I would recommend is taking it off of your website homepage and then keeping it for your blog page, just because it sort of takes away from the professional website homepage look.
Definitely. Yep. The last thing I was going to say is if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there is a invitation to subscribe. And I said this on the part 1 video that we did on my channel, but I'm just going to say it here again, is that to make sure you're telling people why you want them to subscribe. Even if it's just you're going to get updates about my books, anything, if you can have some kind of incentive, like a freebie or like a sneak peek of the first page or different things like that, that's even better. But people don't usually type in their email and want to receive stuff from you unless they know what they're getting. So just a little more verbiage around there would be great.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Sorry, I'm having to like go into like stop sharing in order to go into the next tab. So just give me a second.
Are you clicking when you go to share it? Are you clicking tab or window? Because if you click window, it might be able to go to the different. That's okay. We'll just
I will try that next time. The first time I'm doing this, guys. Bear with me.
She's doing great, you guys. StreamYard can be a little finicky. She's doing great.
Okay, can you see Abigail McCarthy?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so
logo. I love it.
Yeah, I absolutely love your logo and your name and the imagery. I think it's so beautiful. I love the colors. Really, really catches your eye. So well done with that. The first thing that I kind of noticed that needs a little bit of work is your top navigation. There's some alignment issues there. So if you can see here, you've got your 3 buttons here that are just kind of over to the right, and then these social icons are kind of over to the left. And I think if you look at this whole thing as one, then it is centered. But because you've got this big space here, and because they're quite clearly 2 separate things, it just looks a little bit off. So what I would recommend is having these in the center and then having this over to the left somewhere, like over here.
I like that. Let's see. I think we were talking about, now I can't remember what we already said here and on the other video, but we were talking about too about alignment and about making sure that things are centered. And so when I'm looking at your homepage, Abigail, I'm trying to pull it up on my actual, here we go, on my thing so I can see everything. If you scroll up a little bit, Becca, we see that upcoming releases, that banner is centered, but then when we scroll down to about the author, it's over to the side, and then we scroll down a little bit more and subscribe is centered. And I just feel like too, consistency, we're talking about consistency and cohesion, but putting all of those centered, I think would also make that feel a lot more pulled together as well and like purposeful.
Yeah, definitely. And we also mentioned padding in the other one, which is the sort of spacing between all the elements. And here you could just do with having, so you see you've got a big space here, and then you've got a really tiny little space up here. I'd recommend having this kind of space all the way around. So on your top and your left and right padding, have it reflect the bottom. So you've got like the same sort of space going all the way around the text.
Definitely. I also really like her profile picture. I think it's super cute. And but the text too, also, I don't know what your suggestion might be, Becca, on the padding with inside the purple, or if you would suggest not having the purple on top, but I almost feel like the text too is like maybe too close to the edges of the purple box. And if you sort of make the purple box, if you're going to stick to having that box there, make it a little bit wider and make sure the padding is the same all around the box too.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say. I think you worded it better than me.
You know what? The cursor was sort of blipping a little bit, and I thought maybe you were talking about like the top of each strip. Sorry about that.
No. I did mean the purple box, but that's fine. And then the other thing is the line height on this text it's quite close together. So the lines are very close together. So just tweak the line height a little bit so that they're slightly further apart, and it will make it easier for it to be read. The other thing is I can already tell that this is a MailerLite sign-up form. I've used my MailerLite for years, and so I recognize it instantly. They do have really good customization options so that it doesn't instantly look like a MailerLite form. And what I would suggest is taking away the purple and having it sort of embedded into your background so it looks more seamless, if you know what I mean. And you can sort of stretch it out a little bit as well, so it's not that box and you don't have that huge space either side of it.
Yes, definitely. The other thought that if you still feel like there's too much space on either side is you could sort of split up the footer into 2 sections. If you have like not a contact form maybe, but like a button, a couple buttons that you want them to go like see some other things. I think I'm not really describing it that well, but if you go to the bottom of my website at some point, I think I have like a subscriber form, and then like visit me on Patreon, like contact. There's like a couple other buttons, and I think like my socials at the bottom, and there it's divided by like a line, so you can sort of divvy up that section if you want to. But I also really love just like the simplicity of what Becca just described as well.
Yeah, and you've got a little bit of a padding issue here as well with the subscribe. It's very close to the marble background and also to the purple. So just adding a little bit of padding in there on the top and bottom of that subscribe message will just make it look a little bit less cluttered.
Definitely. And guys, again, we're getting like really nitpicky on all the little details, but again, like it's like when we see something that's like pretty good, it's like, okay, now you can make it even better by doing these things. Also, definitely feel free to let us know in the comments like what you guys think, and any other like thoughts you guys might have too.
Yeah, for sure. This is a gorgeous website, so don't think that we don't think it's gorgeous, because it really is. It's just those tiny little things will make a big difference.
Totally.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna try. Did you say window?
Yeah, if you click window, it should. Oh, geez, you should be able to select your whole like browser window, and then you can like click to the different like tabs. There we go.
Okay.
Woo!
Seeing as I clicked on this one, should we do this one? April Mac?
Sure.
Okay, this one hit me. I was really, really impressed when I first landed on this site. It looks very different to anything else that I've seen. I love this side menu. I don't see that on many websites, and I think that's a really nice, different way of doing it. I'd be interested to know how that looks on mobile. We didn't get a chance to look on mobile, but just obviously make sure that it does look good on mobile. But the initial look of the site is really, really powerful. So I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I did notice as we move past that initial image onto your lovely bio and your lovely picture of yourself, there is a lot of text, and it's a huge, huge chunk of text, and it actually carries on past your sign up form, because then you go into a few extra facts about me and it's just more text. So I think that this is too much text for your homepage. It's very overwhelming for a reader, especially, like I said, most people will be looking at websites on mobile, and if they're landing on this site and it's just streams and streams and streams of text on a very small screen, it's just going to be very overwhelming and they're not going to read it. So I'd recommend putting some of this about info onto an actual about page. It's about is highlighted on the menu, so I think your homepage and your about page are the same.
That's what I realized a few minutes before getting on here as I was looking through things. I was like, I think it's the same page. And it, for the same reasons that Becca was saying, I think it would be great to have like a little snippet about you and make it like that's the home page, and then having a link to read more. So you're sort of giving them that teaser, and then if they want to read more, they can go to click to read more.
Yeah, that's what I say in my author website series, is I always say that the homepage should just be teasers. It should just be little snippets of whatever you want people to look at, and then they can click to find out more. So you don't have to have everything on the homepage. Exactly. The other thing is I don't see anything about your books. Again, I can just see a lot about you. So I would recommend having something about your books on your homepage, whether it's your work in progress or published books. Just a little paragraph and some kind of imagery would really go a long way.
Yes, and I did click around. I think this is one of the ones that I got to click around, but if you click right now, it goes to like not just what's going on right now with her books, but some other things. And that's where I think you're maybe just trying, April, to not have too much going on, like too much in your menu, which I always like encourage people not to overwhelm their menu either. But I do think that most people, when they come to an author website, they're looking like, give me in the menu the word books, because otherwise I don't know where to go. And so I would actually separate that page into make sure it's a books page. And then, if you have like a social media page or in the media page, you can put like your Instagram stuff and different things there. Just some thoughts.
Okay, are we good to move on? Have you got anything else to say? Okay. Kylie Keeling, let us know if you're here, Kylie. Okay, so I remember this site. This site stood out to me to begin with because I thought, oh wow, this is really nice and professional. I love the colors. I love the font you've chosen. I really like this background with the books. I just think it's a really nice, professional looking website when you first get to it. I do have an issue with this box just because it's your name repeated and that's it. And again, if I come to here, that is your entire screen taken up by just your name and your photo. So I would recommend having a bio about you here instead of your name again. Mm-hmm. But then as we scroll down, we kind of lose the lovely professionalism as soon as we get to like here. And this suddenly starts looking less cohesive. Mm-hmm. So you've got this blue that's kind of come out of nowhere, and that's fine if it's to do with your book. Like I know you've got Romance Lost in Blue, that's fine. This font, I can't read it. I don't know about you, Brittany, but I can't read this font at all. And I think I know this font. I think it's Cookies and Cream. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's just one that I and a lot of people I know struggle to read, and you haven't used it anywhere else. So again, talking about cohesiveness, I would use this font here for your headers.
Yes.
And then you've got this sort of random background here, which I don't think you need at all, especially as it's right touching your other imagery and you've got like a video straight on top of it. And I can see you've put like a white background here so that your text stands out, but you wouldn't need that if you didn't have this background pattern. So I hope that makes sense, but it just kind of, there's lots of random elements as you come down here and it all looks so nice and professional up the top. And then it just becomes very scattered and random as you kind of scroll down.
Right. And not to be repetitive, but that's basically all the things that I was thinking as well. But yeah, I think like focusing on fonts, focusing on like cleaning up that bottom, like taking elements, like Becca said, from the top and trying to apply them to the bottom as much as possible. And the only other like small thing that I thought of when we get to your subscriber section, I actually thought of Cam's website that we saw in the previous video where she has this great like, hey, I have a workbook and I don't know if you can take like a screenshot of the cover of your workbook or a couple pages in the workbook and like sort of exemplifying what they look like here, like Cam did. I think that would give you a great visual here to sort of pull people in because we don't have the sort of fields that you would put your name and your email. So like to the eye, you don't automatically see that this is an offering. But if you had some kind of image and then people would be like, oh, that looks cool. Let me like read the text now to see what it's about. Then they'd be more likely to click to subscribe.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I haven't actually got Pam's website up anymore. I can quickly show you what
yes.
mean.
Oh, and does it too. Yeah,
So I haven't got it on here. I've got it on blog. But yeah, if you actually put some kind of imagery there, here, something like this, that will really help you to stand out. The other thing is, I'm not sure about this fade. I think it would be better to just keep it white because I actually really love this divider, but the divider kind of loses its impact because you've got the beige color here. So if this was white, it would have, if you scroll down a little bit, you see the effect. It would have this really nice effect of looking like one section. So I would recommend having this section be white.
Definitely. And I also actually, I can't pull it up on the screen, but there's a comment that just came in from Grapefry. I think the social media icons on this one should have the color, just like the black and the black outline logos. So I didn't even see them at first. I think maybe because they were blending in with some other stuff. But on the left-hand side at the top, yes, I'm slightly dyslexic. Left-hand side, there's like those colored logos where there's some versions of them that you can make them just like black or white. I think black would probably be best here, and then you can get the different social media icons like all looking cohesive too.
Yeah, I actually totally miss them as well. I think you could do with them being a little bit bigger as well.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Grapefry, for letting us know that.
Okay. This one. I think we've maybe got time for one more, maybe two.
Yeah.
Reese Ryan. I really like the initial look of this site. It looks very much like a lot of professional authors that you see. If you look at a lot of authors who have been around for a while, they'll have like their books in a kind of carousel over the top. So I really like what you've done there with the 3 book covers. It looks really nice. They do get kind of hidden. If you look, the header kind of drops down, so the top gets cut off. And then when you scroll, it kind of rectifies itself. So you might want to have a look at what's causing that. I think it might be your padding changes between your logo and your menu.
And even on when iPad, it pulled up on mine. I have Chrome, so I don't know if you have a different browser, Becca, but on Chrome, it was even cutting it off right away when I got to the page. So like all your characters or models' faces were all like basically disappeared. And even when I tried to scroll down, it was cut off a little bit. So just to let you know.
I can see here that this person is using WordPress. So this bit here, I really like the imagery that you've used. A couple of things that I noticed. Firstly, you've got VIP readers group and become a VIP. Now, I would suggest using the term VIP for just one of them, maybe for your readers group, which I presume is, yeah, it's a Facebook group. Just because initially, when I didn't see the word subscribe to our mailing list, I thought that these were the same thing. I thought that it was join my VIP readers group and then become a VIP. I thought that was the same thing. So just to make it really clear that one is the newsletter and one is the Facebook group, I would recommend using the word VIP just once. And the other thing is this whole thing is an image. So all of this text, all of these bullet points, that's all an image as opposed to actual text on the site. And there's 2 issues with that. One of them is Google doesn't really like that. Google much prefers actual text on your website rather than it being sort of pulled in as an image. The other thing is it just means that it doesn't match anything. So this text that you've used here, even if it's the same font, when you've used it on an image and pulled an image in with all the text, it's still going to look slightly different to the text that's actually on the site. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense, Brittany?
I think so, yes. And you'll probably see it a lot more too, like if you're looking on mobile, because it'll be like a different, I'm assuming that this image, yeah, will just be like sort of shrunken down even more. So it'll probably be harder to read because the dimensions of it will now go down to here. So Becca's probably about to say it, but if you just like cut out just the banner part and put that in there and then put text, right? Is that what you're about to say?
Yeah, definitely. Just have the text underneath, because the other thing that it will do when it goes down to mobile, if it's text as opposed to text on an image, is it will just drop the text down onto a new line, whereas an image, it will resize it and make it smaller.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Okay, is there anything else with this one, or should we try and get one more in?
Sure, let's try to get one more in.
Okay, we'll do this really, really quickly before saying goodbye, just because we've got this last one, and then I think we've managed to do all of them. So this one, the first thing that hit me was the big old Wix ad at the top, and also the fact that your URL says Wix site, and I think that's just because you haven't upgraded your plan. I would really recommend doing that. It just takes away from your professionalism straight away if you've got ads on your site and if you haven't got your own domain. So if you can, I would recommend upgrading your plan. And then you've got a huge amount of space here underneath your name. So either cut this out so that you've got like a smaller section under your name, or make your name bigger and sort of center it.
Definitely. I love how big her face is, and there's a lot of attitude here. I like it.
Yeah, I love this picture. It's really nice. This text, this scripty font, I can't read that. I don't know about you, Brittany, but it's so tiny. Aww. I can't read it at all. I would recommend having this whole text section move over to the left slightly, because it does feel like it's very, very over to the right, and also have everything just a little bit bigger so that it's easier to read. And maybe think about a different script font, because that is a very scripty font. And I do like script fonts on websites, but you just need to be careful to pick the right one so that it is still readable.
Right. And sometimes with those too, like if you're doing it one big word or like 2 or 3 big words for like a title, it works. But then when you're trying to do like a couple lines of text that are small, like it looks pretty, but people aren't probably going to squint and be like, "Nah, I'm not going to bother reading it." And you don't want that.
Yeah. So this is obviously your blog section, and then I think this is your Instagram. I'm guessing this is your Instagram. I would put headers here just to make it really clear that that's what it is. So again, you've got a slight spacing issue here at the top of your blog. It's very, very close to your profile photo. So I'd add a bit of space there and add blog. And then again here, add a bit of space so that you can see it's 2 separate sections, and add Instagram, just to make it clear.
Definitely. And normally, and I don't know, maybe we'll differ here, but we were just talking, I think it was on the first video, but we were talking about having picture on picture and how that can be a little too busy. I don't know what you personally think of this, like, it feels like a wallpaper kind of pattern. It's really cute. I feel like here it's sort of working and I wouldn't necessarily change it, but it might be that much cleaner if it didn't have a pattern on the background. I don't know what you think, Becca.
Yeah, I like this background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because it's got a blank background behind the little bunny ears, I think that's why it's not quite so jarring. But yeah, I do like the background, and I think it's not quite as in your face as some other backgrounds, so I think it does work.
Yeah. Awesome.
And you've got a nice footer down here as well. I really like that.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, and
I
an
think that's
example of
everything.
like splitting the footer where you can have like a subscription form and then like a let's connect, with some buttons things. Again, I'm getting confused between the two. I think we talked about Abigail's in the beginning of this where we had this question. So this is what we were talking about.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's everything. I think we've managed to get through all of them.
Think so. Yay. You guys, this was so much fun. We don't have another like video to like whip off to, so I don't know if anybody had any last minute questions, but if Becca, you need to go, this has been really cool. I'm really glad we did this collab.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun. If you do have any questions, leave them down below. If you need any more specific advice when it comes to your website, Brittany has her author website bootcamp. So you'll get a lot more specific advice there. I also have my author website YouTube series, which you can go and watch, and it has a lot more sort of detailed advice on how to do all the things we've spoken about. And I've also got a workbook that you can download and print off and kind of work through the different elements of your site. So hopefully those things put together will help you, and do feel free to just leave comments and we'll try and go through and answer them afterwards as well.
Yes, yeah, and you guys can continue to put questions in the comments if you're watching the replay, and we'll try to check back, especially in the next couple of days, and answer any additional questions you guys have. And would you guys like to see this again? Maybe looking at some other pages or some more websites, please let us know. Let's see, Trevor says, thank you, very informative. Ken said, this was great and lots of helpful tips, thank you. Very helpful from Great Fry. You guys, welcome, it was fun.
I'm so glad that it was helpful, and yeah, let us know if you have any other questions and we will be happy to answer at another time.
Yes. Awesome.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Brittany.
Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Okay, bye guys.